Hey gang, tiny contest for this one, for this particular one. The contest question is at the back of this video. At the end of this video, you'll be able to see the contest question. If you think you know the answer, type it in the comments below. Okay, have fun with the rest of this video. Hey gang, in this video we're going to go over what I call the sounds of the modes. Now the modes are actually kind of simple, and the concept of it is kind of simple, but they're confusing to a lot of people. And I think they're confusing because they work so well and they work so flexibly, and yet when you understand exactly what they are, it's hard to believe that that's it. A lot of people have the reaction, that's it? That's really it? So what I want to do in this particular video is show you all the sounds of the modes, and then in subsequent videos about this we'll show how to use the modes over different chords, over different chord progressions, to create just a wide variety of sounds and moods. So first of all, let's go over the definition of what a mode is, and we'll do this in two distinct ways. One will be the focus of this particular lesson, which is on all the sounds, but the other will be sort of the textbook definition for science-minded folks. So if you're one of those, I'm going to give you the textbook definition of a mode, and this pertains just to the major scale. This pertains to any mode, but I'm going to do it for the major scale. So we're going to do the C major scale here, and if I play the notes of the C major scale, all right, in first position, I'm going to play it here. That's just the major scale. If you know any scale, you probably know that one. Now, the modes, or the typical modes that we know of, which are the ones that assign the Greek names, right? The Ionian, the Dorian, the Phrygian, the Lydian, the Mixolydian, the Aeolian, and the Locrian. There's 7 modes, which makes sense because there's 7 notes in the major scale. They relate to degrees of that major scale. So, for example, the first mode, the Ionian, starts from the first degree of the scale and goes to the first degree of the scale, but an octave up. So the Ionian mode would be this. Okay, now technically it doesn't actually hit that last note, but I like to hit it just because it gives a finality to what the mode sounds like. All right, so if you're sitting there thinking, well, wait a second, that's just the major scale, you're right. The Ionian mode is just the major scale. Those are really the same. Okay? So the second thing would be, well, what about the Dorian? The Dorian starts as the second, so this is sort of a non-trivial example. The Dorian would be starting on the second degree of that major scale and ending up on the second degree of that major scale, same C major scale, but just an octave up. So the Dorian would be like this. All right? So I'm using the notes of the C major scale to play both the C Ionian and the D Dorian. Okay? So hopefully that clears up a little bit. But here's what I think is the real definition, or the real meaning of modes. You should try and equate modes with moods, because when you hear different modes, it's going to conjure up different moods, and then you can use those to create music with those different moods, just by using the major scale, just by using those same major scale notes. I've done something just a bit radical here. I've tuned my 6th string down to a C, and then we'll go through all the modes, but we'll start with the Ionian, and we'll see what they sound like with that drone. Okay, so let's go through the notes first. Okay, there's the first, very solid. Second, looks like it's going somewhere. Oh, beautiful sound. That's the third. Again, maybe that's the fourth, which is also going somewhere. The fifth. The sixth. A little bit unresolved still. There's the seventh, a little bit clashing with that C. And we're back to it. Now I'll start playing some other notes. But again, all of these are going to be from the C major scale. Okay, and we can even play chords of that. So very peaceful sounding, I would say, and maybe happy sounding and very satisfying, but definitely a very peaceful sound. Whatever word makes sense for you, that's the Ionian mode. Now let's move on to the Dorian mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune my sixth string up now to a D. So here I go. It's pretty close. And we'll play the same, so this is Dorian now, but we'll play those same notes of the C major scale to see how that sounds. Remember that E that sounded so satisfying before? Now listen to how it sounds against that D. Now those chords. So the Dorian definitely sounds very different from the Ionian, right? It sounds kind of maybe dark or wistful or bittersweet, a bit sad, but maybe not super sad. Some people say it's jazzy sounding. Whatever makes sense to you, when you play around with it, that's what you should call it, okay? Let's move on to the next one, which is Phrygian. So I'm going to tune up to the third note, which is E, third mode Phrygian. So let's do that. Close enough for jazz. Okay, so let's try it now. Remember, I'm still playing the same notes, those from a C major scale. So that one definitely has a different flavor. Dark, but maybe a little bit mysterious too. That's a sound that's used a lot in flamenco music. But again, whatever color you want to call it, whether it's dark and mysterious or something else that works for you, go for it. Now we're going to go to the next mode, which is Lydian. So, excuse me. So Lydian would be for the fourth tone of the C major scale. So that's an F. So I'm going to tune up to F. So again, I'm going to play the C major scale, the notes of the C major scale. Let's hear how that sounds against that F bass note. It's the wrong note there, sorry. So again, maybe a little bit mysterious. But in maybe a little more positive way. A lot of people think that Dorian sounds kind of like flying or like suspension or maybe anticipatory, futuristic. Again, whatever word works for you, that's what you should use. Let's move on to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one's 5. Mixolydian. It's over a G. So I'm going to tune this one up to a G. Grit my teeth a little bit. There we go. Again, playing the C major scale over that G bass note. Let's play those chords. So again, very different sounding than the last one, certainly than Phrygian. So some people might say that the G, that sounds happy or a little more positive, but it doesn't quite have that peaceful feeling. Maybe it's a little bit edgier or a little bit partying over that G Mixolydian. Let's turn to the next one, which is Aeolian. That is over an A bass note. I think I'm going to not do that on the 6th string. I'm going to try and do it on the 5th string. Now I'll lose my C, but on the 5th string. But I'm going to go with the A that's there and tune this back down to an E. All right, so now it's back to standard tuning, but I'm going to use the A string, the 5th string, for my drone. Again, playing over that C major scale. So definitely more of a sad sound, maybe tragic even. But that's the, if you probably already know this, but the Aeolian mode is the same as the minor scale, the 6th degree of the major scale. If you base the mode off that, it's the same as the minor scale. So definitely a sad sound. And let's do our last one, which is Locrian, based on the 7th. And so I'll tune to a B. I'm going to tune my 5th string to a B here. Okay, we'll try it again. So definitely a little bit, really kind of, I don't know if I even want to say sort of horrific sounding. Definitely not something you'd want to stay on very long. And that's Locrian scale. So it definitely gives you kind of outside sounds or kind of alien or foreign sorts of sounds. I don't mean foreign in the sense of foreign country, but something alien that's really unknown or uncomfortable. Whatever works for you. Well, that's it. In terms of the sounds of the modes, we've got Ionian, which is kind of peaceful, giving you a rundown of how I think of it. Ionian, which is kind of peaceful. Dorian, which is kind of bittersweet or dark. Phrygian, which is kind of mysterious and maybe even a little bit sinister in there, but definitely on the mysterious side. Lydian, which is maybe mysterious but hopeful or anticipatory. Mixolydian, which is happy but a little bit more animated, happy than the Ionian. Aeolian, which is very sad. And finally Locrian, which is uncomfortable. And there you have it as a rundown. Last thing before we sign off is the contest. So the contest is essentially go back to the beginning lick that I played in the very beginning and tell me what mode that is. What is the mode that I played that beginning lick in? And if you can tell me in the comments below, that'd be appreciative, and I'll have to think of some appropriate gift. Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you found it useful, and we will see you on down the road.